Risking email security for personal gain, the State Department's IT staff disabled security features on Hillary Clinton's personal email server just weeks before the hackers broke in. This is according to new emails released by conservative watchdog group Judicial Watch. Here now is Chris Farrell, the Director of Research and Investigations at Judicial Watch, and Morgan Wright, a cybersecurity analyst. Chris, let me start with you. What did you discover in this latest salvo? This is incredible stuff.
It is incredible stuff. We had to go to court to get it. The State Department Inspector General had released a report a couple of weeks back with some very damning language, but they neglected to release the exhibits behind the report. We went to court and compelled the State Department to release those exhibits. In these emails, it details how the State Department shut down their anti-spam and anti-phishing firewalls in order to allow Mrs. Clinton to communicate off of her BlackBerry and off of her outlaw server that she established at her home in Chappaqua. This is outrageous stuff, to the point where they've acknowledged in writing that they were aware of the vulnerabilities going on, and yet they still took actions to circumvent the system. This is devastating, outrageous stuff, and it's encapsulated, I think, in one email from Huma Abedin to Jake Sullivan and Cheryl Mills, where she says, hey, don't send HRC sensitive stuff for now. I'll explain later.
Unbelievable. I mean, it's unbelievable. Morgan, I want to make sure I'm understanding this right. The State Department, not Clinton email, which I think might be what we said in the introduction, but the State Department put down their guard, took down their firewall and their security features because she was having problems communicating that with them from her own private server. I mean, how dangerous is that? How bizarre is that? What does that tell you?
Well, first of all, good to see you again. Glad to be back on with you. Hey, look, this is a case where obviously convenience just trumps security. That I can't tell you, I was appalled when I started reading some of this, but let me tell you the biggest fear of this: when they shut down their antivirus, when they shut down their content filtering, which is supposed to detect phishing and spear phishing emails, that is the #1 tactic used by the Russians and the Chinese to penetrate our government and other systems. In fact, Ukraine, the power outage there in December of 2015 was caused through spear phishing, delivering the malicious software called Black Energy. If people don't think this is dangerous, just look to the Ukraine.
And Chris, I mean, how do they justify and defend this?
You know, it's outrageous. In the emails, they say, hey, we're being hacked. We have to shut down the server for a while. These are explicit admissions in these emails. It's not open to discussion. It's their own email admitting it. We're not talking about a grave danger to our national security. I mean, this is probably some of the worst stuff you could imagine.
You know, Morgan, does this, I mean, I guess it proves they were vulnerable to being hacked. To prove that they were hacked, which, because, I mean, like everything else, she says one thing and then the next day it changes. But, you know, they've said again and again, there is no proof that this caused any sort of hacking. This shows they were vulnerable. I guess we're waiting for those WikiLeaks emails to be released to prove that somebody else actually has it. Am I right about that?
Yes, in fact, let me tell you, if you look at what John Kerry said when he said he fully expected the Chinese and the Russians are reading his emails, if you look at the string of names that are on there in an unclassified system where everybody is referring to HRC22 at clintonemail.com, this is back in 2010. You can't tell me, and look, I went on record 10 months ago saying I firmly believe these emails are in the hands of our adversaries. I firmly believe targeting officers from foreign intelligence agencies saw this, they targeted this, and I think the FBI investigation will at least prove out there was some indication of a breach. If they can get into the Clinton Foundation server, they can get into her personal server.
Amazing. All right, gentlemen, thank you so much.